since they just started dating and basically just met each other, that I wouldn't know her that well. But literally 2 days after they started dating, she started spending every single day at my house. I'm being serious, like she had a whole duffel bag that had basically her closet in it. But that wasn't the problem. So in the summertime, my parents would plan a lot of family activities, and since they were called family activities, his girlfriend wasn't allowed to go. I mean, I think she would have been.
Welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are having a great day. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and leave a like
and subscribe
on the video, and we welcome you to our community. So today we will be checking out some more storytime videos. So no further ado, let's happen.
We're gonna change all your passwords to something new.
Okay, cool.
What do you want it to be?
Tequila.
You can't make it so obvious, man.
It's gotta be something I can remember though, you know? And I never forget tequila. Unless I drink too much tequila, then I forget everything.
What's your wife's name?
Whoa, relax. Why are we bringing her into this?
It's gotta be something other than tequila. What's your favorite word?
Tequila.
No shit. What's your favorite food?
Frozen tequila.
What's your favorite color?
What color is tequila?
What's your favorite song?
I really like that song that goes, dun 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 dun. Well, what's that one called?
Okay, what about your favorite movie?
Oh, I just saw this really good Netflix documentary about tequila.
Let's just make it tequila spelled backwards. Cool?
Oh, okay, yeah. That's not confusing at all.
And you're all set.
Really?
Yep, all your passwords are updated.
You mean Netflix?
Yep.
Disney Plus?
Yep.
Pornhub?
Yep.
You sure about the Pornhub one?
He ruined my sister's only birth experience, so I made sure he'd never forget her. When I was 14 and my oldest sister, Sarah, was 22, we found out that she was pregnant with Paul, her boyfriend of 4 years. They immediately got engaged and they were really happy. For a time, Sarah had a horrible pregnancy, about 16 to 18 weeks, and the wonder of creating a human life evaporated within her. She developed hyperemesis, which if you don't know is really bad morning sickness. She was constantly in pain, she developed gestational diabetes, and just all around hated the experience. Around this time Paul, the then fiancé, started getting sick of the complaining. I believe the argument was, your body is built to do this, it can't be that bad. What? Sarah was due around Valentine's Day, and Paul's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Doe, were very excited, both about the grandkid and the fact that he could be born on a holiday. She was very against that and really hoped that her son wouldn't be born on a holiday, even one as small as Valentine's Day. Her birthday sometimes falls on Easter and she hates it, because it might make him feel that his day isn't very much about him. Well, Mrs. Doe says something like, well, if you name him Valentine or Valentino, then that'll make the day even more special to him. Again, my sister hated the idea. She thought it was tacky, he'd be bullied for it, and just really didn't like the name Valentino. Paul loved it, but agreed to go with a more average name like Daniel or Jared. Fast forward to February and she was ready to get this over with. Sarah had officially been put on bed rest because while standing or walking her blood pressure took unexpected spikes and dips.
Whoa.
I look back now and goodness do I feel bad for her. She was doing her best to avoid giving birth on Valentine's Day because, again, she didn't want him born on a holiday. Unfortunately, births happen when they happen, and that baby was going to come on Valentine's Day whether she wanted him to or not. I remember waiting out in the waiting room with my dad, brothers, and Paul, who couldn't stand to be in the delivery room because it was gross. I was so mad that he could have gone in but wouldn't because he thought my sister was gross while giving birth.
I want to punch you in the face so bad right now.
Whereas I had to stay outside because I was too young to go in with my mom and other sister. Dad went home with the youngest 2 brothers while the oldest, Zeke, stayed to watch me because I refused to leave. 16 hours after Sarah went into labor, my little nephew was officially part of the family on the evening of Valentine's Day. Unfortunately, Sarah was not okay. She had to have an emergency cesarean section, and while doing the operation discovered that the back of her uterus, facing her spinal cord, had a very large and very severe, thankfully non-cancerous, tumor. When I say large, I mean it was twice the size of a standard uterus. The doctors were shocked and didn't understand why nobody had noticed it on an ultrasound. It accounted for her severe back pain and blood pressure issues. The doctors immediately went in for more surgery to remove the tumor, but sadly ended up having to perform a full hysterectomy. This meant that my nephew would be Sarah's only child. Now while Sarah was in for surgery, Paul was taking care of everything baby related to make sure his son was okay. In my 14-year-old self's memory, I remember him being suitably distraught, but I didn't really pay him much mind and spent my time in the waiting room with my mother and other sister. Zeke, however, wanted to be a good future brother-in-law and make sure that Paul was okay. He found Paul filling out the baby paperwork on his own, looking, in my brother's words, like he had not a single worry in his mind.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
Zeke asked why Paul didn't wait for Sarah to fill out the paperwork, as she should have been out of surgery within the hour, and Paul said that he just wanted her to get her rest and heal. That checked out with Zeke, as he was 16 and didn't know any better at the time. Now I know what you're probably thinking. No, he wouldn't. He knows how much she hates that name. And still, she'd need to sign the paperwork too. My fellow peoples of Reddit, I regret to inform you that Paul forged Sarah's signature on the paperwork and waited until she was out of surgery to hand said paperwork over.
Oh, hell no.
My sweet nephew,
What?
who was born on Valentine's Day, was named Valentino on his first official birth certificate. I still to this day don't know why Paul and his family were so insistent about the name. He had even picked out a different one with my
That's
sister.
so fucked
And before
up,
you ask,
bro.
no, he was never brought up on forgery charges because his parents were witnesses to her signing the papers, even though they only got there at the last minute. So Sarah dumped him and got her son's name changed a month later.
That's great.
She was willing to do split custody with him because that's her son's father and she wants the kid to know him, but Paul vanished and she never heard anything back, which seemed weirdly out of character to us. Until a mutual friend on Facebook was tagged in his wedding pictures 6 months later. Paul had apparently started cheating on her not long after she got pregnant. Sarah was livid, but there wasn't much she could do, so she filed for child support and continued to live her best life. Until 6 years later. This is where the revenge starts, my friends. So Sarah has been a single mother for the past 6 years and has been amazing at it. At this point in my career I've been a hairdresser for about 8 months at our local Great Clips. I'm working one day and who is seated before me but Jane, Paul's wife, herself. I take her back for a trim and she clearly has no idea who I am. That adds up because a mutual friend that still keeps in contact with Paul said that Jane doesn't know a thing. She has no idea about Sarah, that she was the other woman, or that Paul actually has a kid that he's been, infrequently, paying child support for. She's in the dark on it all.
Whoa,
I told
that's
myself not to be an
crazy.
ass and treat her like a normal customer, which I did. Now at this point, Jane was heavily pregnant, so a lot of our conversation was about that. She loved being pregnant but it was hard. Her husband was so unsympathetic.
Stop it. Get some help.
Big shocker, and she was due in 10 weeks and they still hadn't picked out a name for their baby girl. Ladies and gentle people, this was my chance. I asked what kind of name she was looking for and she said I want something unique and unusual, but not ridiculous like Brantley, you know the ones I'm talking about, and Paul had suggested so many already and she didn't like any of them. So I, conniving little weasel I am, said what about Sarah? My sister's name isn't actually Sarah, she was named after an older family member that passed not long after she was born, but there was no female equivalent for his name so our parents created one. It's a beautiful name and just what Jane was looking for. She loved it, she stuck by it, and I found out by stalking her Facebook months later that she had put her foot down about it and that was their daughter's name. Now Paul has a daughter with his ex's name to remind him every day about her, and to also remind him to pay his child support. Little nephew is 10 years old now with a new name and no contact with his biological father, though we
Wow.
still sometimes call him Val as a family nickname. He likes it but doesn't want to bring it to school so it's staying a family nickname. Sarah pretends to hate when we call him that, in a joking way. As long as he likes it she doesn't have a problem with it. And she's seeing a new guy who's really great and like a father to Val. Smile.
That's really, yo, that's really, oh, that's really crazy, bro. Wow. You know, I'm really, wow. Oh my God. Wow. Look, I know what it's like, to be around a pregnant woman. So I get that at times it can be frustrating and sometimes she can piss you off because, emotions are high, hormones, all of that things taken into consideration. But, my friend, the fact that you were unempathetic to her, it's really fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's your woman, your wife, whatever, bro. You're supposed to be there to support her. Oh my God. Then the fact that you forge her signature to give the baby a name that she clearly said she did not want for. Yo, let's move on.
Storytime about why I hate my brother's girlfriend. So a little background information, I was 14 years old and had just started my freshman year of high school, and my brother and his girlfriend were both seniors. And we're gonna call his girlfriend Riley. Now, Riley and my brother started dating in the middle of the summer, and you would think since they just started dating and basically just met each other that I wouldn't know her that well. But literally 2 days after they started dating, she started spending every single day at my house.
Wow.
I'm being serious, like she had a whole duffel bag that had basically her closet in it. But that wasn't the problem. So in the summertime, my parents would plan a lot of family activities, and since they were called family activities, his girlfriend wasn't allowed to go. I mean, I think she would have been allowed to go, but she was also really disrespectful to my mom. So after one of our family days, my parents asked my brother if Riley would be joining us for dinner, and he just ignored them and went up to his room. And my room's right next to his, so I could hear everything. And Riley called him like for part 2.
Damn, oh my god. These blind reactions, bro. I didn't even know. Oh shit. I'm gonna see if I can get a part 2 for this one. But anyway, guys, that's the end of the video. I appreciate you guys watching. If you're new to the channel, please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. We welcome you to our community. Alright guys, enjoy the rest of your day and thank you for tuning in.